Well. What is going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good night. We got the man here, Wizzo. Uh,
Where's he at?
yeah, talking about you, bro.
Hmm.
Talking about you. We're gonna chat with Wizzo, also known as Chris. What in the world is your last name? How do you pronounce it? Is it
Uh,
Wygant,
it
Waygant,
there's a whole lot of letters in there, but it's Wyant.
Wyant?
Just Wyant.
Wyant.
Yeah,
Okay.
too
Chris
many letters in there.
Chris Wyant.
Yep.
There we go. I'll get it. I don't know why I was saying Wygant. I don't know.
I've heard it so many different ways, man. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, so don't worry about it.
Uh, I appreciate you coming on. Real
Absolutely.
quick, everybody, if you don't care, we don't get many shares on the live feed because everybody's paying attention and listening up. But if you don't care, if you hit that like button on the live feed and you share it, it gets it out to more people. And Chris is one of those guys that we need to get his face and his story out to the masses because he's behind the scenes. Nobody sees his face. A lot of people don't know what he does. So if you don't care, share this out, hit that like button. I'm going to go ahead and get on my tablet and I'm going to share it out as well. Actually, I'm going to come over here to my phone. It's a lot faster. And I'm going to go ahead and share it out. So while I'm doing that, Chris, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. When you got into this, and when you got into the off-roading community, not just rock bouncing,
Yeah.
because as a lot of people know, you also do the Ultra 4 stuff, and Lord
Right.
knows what else, trail rigs. But
Yep.
how old was you? How old was you when you got into off-roading? And where in the world did you start to learn how to do shocks, and who was it through?
All right. So got into four wheeling. I guess I was early, late high school. First part of I was went to Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green. Got into I had a Jeep that I built in a parking lot behind the house. Just basic 3.5, 4 inch lift with some 33s, and we would load it, not load it, we'd drive it to like Land Between the Lakes area and go wheeling for the weekend and camping and stuff like that. And then that was kind of where I first, started fooling with off road in general. Kind of went downhill from there because just got into a Toyota pickup truck and solid axle swapped it and blew up the motor. So swapped in a 4.3 and then had been put on FJ80 axles, and then like the body was just a raisin, just a crushed can. So I decided it was about 2009 ish. I decided that I wanted to build a chassis, and I was going to take all those parts. I had like 4.3, just FJ80 axles, whatever. I was going to build this chassis. Well, then I was like, well, if I'm going to build a chassis, maybe I want to do 1-tons. Well, then I sold the FJ80 axles, bought some 1-tons. I was like, well, if I got 1-tons, I guess I should probably do V8. So found a 6-liter. And then when I knew, going from the Toyota cab truck on leaf springs, I knew I wanted better suspension. So, and it was, like I said, it was about 09, 2010-ish. I knew I wanted coilovers. Well, at that time, didn't have a whole lot of money floating around. So I decided, if I'm going to do this, I'm probably going to have to buy some used ones. So I bought some used that were damaged. They needed shafts, they needed rebuilt and all that. So that was kind of where I got started in the shocks. Because I knew I'm just going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out how these work, and, had zero clue, no clue at all. At that time, there was a guy named Joe Ward. He worked for Bill Stein, and very helpful. super knowledgeable, and he gave me just some sort of direction. I had no clue. He gave me some decent guidance and all that to at least get me some shocks that weren't terrible. So built that rig, just trail rode it, raced E-course. It was kind of, at that time, King of the Hammers was kind of kicking off, and obviously, mine was more of a trail rig, but I kind of built it with the thought that maybe I might check out, this E-course series that was going on at the time. So did that for a season, and then mainly just, did that, trail rode it all around the Southeast, AOP, Harlan, Golden Mountain, Will in the Country, just, wherever.
Oh, no.
Hold on.
No.
What'd I do? Oh, there we back. My bad. So just kind of trail rode that all around the Southeast. And then I did AOP when Tom owned it, had that race. It was like a one-shot race, I believe is what he called it. Like, you couldn't look at the hill, you couldn't pre-run it. Yep. I thought it was really cool idea, like a cool concept. So I raced that. Of course, all the big names at the time were there. I think I came in like 7th or something, but it was not like a bounty hill, but it was kind of rock bouncing, I guess.
Yeah.
So ish. I just thought the concept was cool, where you couldn't pre-run, couldn't look at the course, and just trail rode quite a bit, and got into building buggies for folks, and got into I worked on my own coilovers. Well, then I had a good buddy of mine built his buggy at the same time, and then more people started building buggies at that time, like early 2010, 2012, that kind of time frame. And I guess people just, like, if somebody damaged a shock, they'd hit me up and be like, "Hey man, can you fix this?" Which, yeah, sure. Right. And kind of went, just tinkering with coilovers, like trying to figure out how to tune them, and trying to figure out just everything I could about them, I guess.
So what was your very first coilover that you ever actually broke down and looked at the inside of?
It was the Bilsteins that I had bought used. At that time, like I said, 2010, it was like essentially off-road carried Bilstein, and wide open carried Fox, or something like that. There was, around the East Coast, I don't feel like there was a ton of option. Like, King was out there in the world, but they just, for whatever reason, their reach or whatever, wasn't all the way to the East Coast. And I'm just using the local shops, for parts, or local to me, which is Middle Tennessee-ish. I'm in, right outside of Bowling Green, which is about an hour and a half north of Nashville. So, essentially off-road, Jimmy Penner down there, bought stuff from him, obviously Adam at Wide Open, and Brent Mann at Trailworks, bought, just, those were kind of like the 3 shops that were close. So that's who we utilized. And, Bilstein and Fox was kind of it back then. Other stuff was out there, but the Bilsteins were the first ones that I fooled with, and got into some Foxes not too terribly long after that. But
so you started tearing them down yourself.
Yeah.
And so when was it? Everybody knows you're the wizard now of shock tuning shocks, but right. when was it? Did you go to class yourself and meet up with Phil?
So
Phil is Shock Jesus,
right?
And you're the wizard. So right. you had to go. You had to come to Jesus before you could know more. So right. When about, and how did that come along? Did you give Phil a call, or?
So I think it was about 2019. I had started talking with Phil just on like Facebook Messenger, just talking back and forth, just kind of asking some questions and, nothing too in depth, just some general questions, started chit chatting. And then he was planning on coming to AOP for an Ultra 4 race as part of kind of like a shock tuning trip that he had put together. And we were just, in one of the conversations, he was just like, man, like making these trips isn't easy. It's a haul for me to make these trips. And like, I just don't know how many, I don't know if it was like how many more I could do or just whatever. He was just talking about, it was a lot on him to make these trips. And so I was like, well, kind of in my mind, I was like, well, I approached him as like, well, what if you had like a guy or somebody that you trusted on this side of the country to work on people's shocks over here, and kind of, I was like, I don't necessarily have to work for you. I don't know how. I was just, throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what stuck, and
Right.
he was like, man, he's like, let me think about it, and he's like, I knew some buddies that were going to be meeting him at AOP, and he's like, I said, well, I'm gonna come to AOP, maybe we can talk about it some more. So met him, face to face at AOP, and we talked over some things, and I maybe worked with him a little bit. We just talked mainly face to face, and I kind of just told him like, look, like here's where I'm at. Here's what I'd like to do. Not, he's in Nevada, I'm in the Kentucky. Like we don't really, at this point now, we don't really have any like conflict in customers or whatever. Like, I'm saying? It's not like he's just
Right.
down the road or something, and I'm trying to
Right.
do the same thing he's doing. So he thought about it for a couple weeks, and he's like, all right, man. He's like, I think we can do this. And he started sharing more information about how he approaches different things, how
Okay.
he sets up, trail rigs. And then we, kind of started there. I started going out to the King of the Hammers with him. And, honestly, at first, of course, this is like 4 years ago now. At first it was like, I'm just trying to be a sponge and like absorb as much information as I can to help me be more efficient and better at what I'm doing. A lot of what I was doing was just repair work and service work. The tuning side was what I was trying to figure out. I was trying stuff. We were trying stuff on my buddy's rigs, or like uh, Josh Parrish got into racing. He's a local guy to us, and he got into racing, and then he had uh where the outlaw, one of them outlaw that Clayton
Yeah.
Hansworth built.
Yeah.
So he had one of them. We were playing with bypasses at that point and trying to see what ORIs would do and just playing with stuff. So, working with somebody like Phil, or just, any other trade or any other whatever you're doing, if you have any kind of common knowledge and you start working with somebody that really knows more, or, really knows what they're doing, you can learn a lot faster.
Yeah.
Um, so, tried to take those opportunities, working with Phil. He came out east, I feel like one or two more times, and then like we met in Missouri and did some shock tuning for like Jay Storts. This is like 3 years ago.
Right.
Jay Storts and Shane Christensen and
What's up,
Matt
Jay?
Schuessler and some of them guys, and um, Daniel Heckley. But kind of since then, obviously, it's just you know,
Man, you blown up since then.
well,
You,
just getting the experience, um, being able to work with Phil and gain so much more information and knowledge, and then taking that and building off of it.
right.
Like he'll. I mean, he may have posted today, like, he's getting some interest about maybe doing a little shock tour or whatever. And he's, basically in that post, he's like, if anybody's got a bouncer and wants some shock tuning, like I'm handing that over to Chris. Like that ain't really, you
Yeah.
know, it's around where he's at in Nevada. It's, you know, a lot of go fast, a lot of desert, you know,
yeah.
like Jeeps and, you know, rock bouncing or, you know, that style of wheeling or whatever is, you know, way less prevalent. So he doesn't get to, you know, put hands on that kind of vehicle and in those kind of environments like we have over here.
Right.
So,
You think he taught you just about everything he knows, or you think he kept a couple of little secrets from you?
I mean, I mean, I'll be honest. I think he shared. I think he shared about everything. I mean, I don't think he held back. I mean, maybe not. I don't think he did on purpose, but like, you know, you still learn stuff. It's not like you're, you know,
Well, that's
it's
what
like
I was.
anything.
That's
You're
what I
never
was.
done learning. You
Yeah,
know.
that's what I was going to ask you. After you went to school with him,
Yeah.
did you just start tinkering more
Yeah.
and, you know, learn on your own after that, after you got the basics and
Well, I mean, you know,
more than basics, but
well, I mean, it's a lot of it is having kind of a game plan of where to start.
right.
You know, and every rig is similar but different, and then every driver is wants something potentially different. You know, like a trail rig that, I mean, they want a smooth ride that performs well in the rocks and whatever type of wheeling that they enjoy. They want their application to work well for what they want to do, and then obviously a race application, whether it's a bouncer or an Ultra 4 rig, or I had a guy that not too long ago from like Nebraska or something. He had kind of like a mega truck ish thing, and he hit me up and he sent me his shocks, and he sent me a message the other day. He's like, "Dude, these things are awesome. I won like 10 grand at this."
Dang.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, that's, you know, freaking awesome." You know, totally out of my element, but you know, he was like, "Dude, these things are terrible," or, you know, they just weren't set up for what he was trying to accomplish.
Right.
I was like, "Look, man, you know, I'll take a stab at it." Like, and he was, you know, I mean, you know, based on what he sent me, freaking tickled to death and looked like he won a little chunk of change. So I was like,
Hey,
you know, that's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, how many? I ain't gonna say how many. You work with a ton of rock bouncers now,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody I know. Oh, Chris worked on these. Oh, I'm going to see Chris. Oh, you know, Wizzo. I'm sending him these shocks. Man, it seems like you're the man.
I mean,
so
I just try and do a good job, man. I just,
right. How
you know,
many events do you try to go to a year, or how many non-events do you try to go to a year to try to get shock tuning for these guys?
So I don't necessarily try and hit a specific number of events. It really just depends on the timing. You know, I co-drive in a 4400 car in Ultra 4. So I've got
who's that with?
Huh?
Who's that with?
Cody Hardesty.
Okay.
He's out of Louisville. We've kind of taken this year off. Him and his wife, you know, had their first child, and we just ended up kind of setting back this year. We got some new things coming for next year, so that'll be exciting. Okay. But so between the Ultra 4 schedule, obviously, you know, Outlaw, SRS, and then I've got two boys that play travel baseball. You know, weekends are few and far between. Yeah. So I try and just figure out when I can get out and do stuff. I mean, you know, if it's, you know, it seems like on SRS, it's like earlier in the season, you know, just coming out of winter when, you know, we hadn't really hit spring and baseball's not really in full swing. Yeah. You know, it's easier to kind of break away and do some stuff.
Oh yeah, I seen you at Windrock and you was putting them in and out. I was like, dang, look at him.
I think Windrock was like, can't remember who all.
I know you had
Kobe.
Justin. Colby, Justin.
Yeah, Justin Wills, Colby,
Gold Rush.
yeah,
Cooper.
Dan.
Yeah, Dan
Bowman.
Cooper.
And then messed with
Then you messed with Cooper, Bentley.
Coopers. Yeah.
Man, you was all over it that day. I was like, dang.
A lot of it was just, kind of establishing a baseline. It's Windrock is, you're basically right there at them race hills.
Yeah.
It's hard to do a lot.
Yeah.
First
race of the season too. So everybody.
Yeah. That was the thing, is like first race of the season. Everybody's been scrambling to get their rigs ready. And then, now it's like, oh, I want a shock tune too.
Yeah.
or at least, a lot of it was just getting something in there that we can work with, and they're not, just out there working with something that just isn't going to happen for them,
Yeah.
So
we got a guy on here, Brian Bebo Watt.
Yeah.
He said, Chris, I think this was him. This was his. Yep. Chris got my new ride flows working awesome this week in AOP. Night and day difference. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, man. We I was just at AOP this past weekend, had a couple people hit me up about this ride that was going on there, and it worked out, and I was able to get down there Thursday and basically worked from Thursday through Saturday. And Brian came on Saturday, and Brian had came and met me. He had met me at AOP once, but it was just one of them weekends where like it was just raining, and it was hard to get a whole lot done. So I just ended up he was like, man, we just need to try this again. So he came back, and I had gotten, it was better than off the shelf at first, but then once he got to actually use it, he ran like AOP's having that bounty, or they had a race, a qualifier for like I don't know I can't remember if it's a bounty or what they're calling it exactly, but anyhow, there's a race in like October, and you had to qualify for it. So he ran that race and kind of gave me some feedback, and we needed to get in there and do a little more. And so he was able to make it out Saturday, and we, got it where he said he ran the same course as that race, and he said I was twice as fast through that section than I was previously. So obviously we made some solid progress there.
Heck yeah. We all got a big I don't know what you call it. This guy right here says Wizzo is the man. He just come out last week or a couple of days ago and said he was doing a little bit of shock tuning in Gold Rush.
Yeah.
So Wade Good says you are the man. So,
well, since Wade already put it out there, then I guess we can talk about it. But he, of course, I had worked on Gold Rush at Windrock, and that was Dan's first, setting in the seat. I mean, I'm assuming he had drove it around his house. I think he'd done some stuff to it, but that was his first race, and we was just trying to get a package in there for him that would, he could, be successful racing it. And but yeah, since Wade's got it, and I guess racing at Bikini Bottoms, and I've worked with Wade when he had Misfit, and we've been able to go back and forth and make talk through some changes and all that kind of stuff with the with the external bypasses and whatnot. We can talk through adjustments, and I can give him advice on what direction to go.
Right. So speaking of Wade, Wade is a monster behind the wheel. Do you set up buggies different from Wade than you would?
Yeah.
I don't like picking on nobody, but
no. Well,
so slower.
So a race buggy is very much tuned for how the driver wants it to work.
Okay.
Different. I've worked with a number of different drivers, and they all have their own style, or their own, the certain aspects or way that they want their buggy to work that suits their driving style the best. Yeah. So Wade wants it like stiff as can be, just way stiff. That's what he prefers. That's how he feels like he's fastest. And there's nothing that says that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's all driver preference. If I can make the driver comfortable,
Right.
they can go faster, right? I mean, that's if the driver's not comfortable with how their rig is performing and reacting to different things, they're not going to drive fast.
Right.
So, you know, that's when we're shock tuning a race rig, I ask for a lot of input. You know, I want, like, it doesn't matter what I like. You know, what do you like? I know what to set up the valving and whatnot at, but you know, when we get down to the, you know, fine tuning, it's, you know, how do you want this thing to react? And then it's me making it do that for them. And
right.
then, you know, just like Chris Grigg, you know, his parents drove his shock setup up here. I threw something at it. You know, we just kind of made some adjustments quick on the fly, and then he raced Hawk Pride was like his first race.
Yeah.
And then I think that's right. Maybe it was the second. I don't. Anyway.
No, first race was Good Evening Ranch.
Okay.
And he placed. He was on the podium.
Right. So he done well right out the box or whatever. But then just once he got some more seat time, obviously.
No, he wasn't on the podium. He was at Hawk Pride. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. So, you know, once he got some seat time, he got with me before the race in Missouri. He came through, met me at Blue Holler here in Kentucky, and we was able to, I hauled my truck. I got, you know, 44-foot enclosed with all my shock stuff in it, hauled it out there. We never opened a shock. We just turned tubes and dialed it in to where he was comfortable. Huh. And, so, I mean, it's tuning any race rig, whether it's Ultra 4 or rock bouncing. It's, you know, obviously I got to get the right valving package in there, but then it's tweaking it and fine tuning it to how the driver wants it to work.
Right.
We're
not going to go over how much, you know, everything costs for shock tuning and all that, but I do want to know, for the people watching, what is the very first base pay out for a basic shock setup?
So, you know, just if it's a trail rig with 4 shocks, pretty much my base price is $500.
Okay.
If it's a 8 shock rig, it's $800.
Okay.
You know, and then, you know, if we get into bump stops, we get into coil springs. There's other things.
That's why I didn't want to get into all that. I just wanted the base.
That's pretty much base. You know.
Okay. That way, yeah, people could have an idea.
Right.
So Chris got on here. Chris Grigg said had 3 races before got back together. Night and day difference. Wizzo is the man.
Appreciate it, Chris.
So you do the 4400 class, and that's the big boys, right?
Yeah.
That's the top of the line. That's what everybody shoots for. That's what Paul's out there hustling and keeping up and beating a lot of people.
Right.
So does Wizzo do most of not Wizzo, does Phil do most of those guys, or do you do the Ultra 4 rigs also?
I do Ultra 4 rigs also. Okay. I've got, you know, a number of different, I mean, there's obviously the Ultra 4 presence is probably a little bit bigger on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on the Ultra 4 side of things, I mean, there's, you know, you got Phil, you know, like Wayne Israelson out there in California. That's who Paul started using, and obviously having some pretty good success. But there's plenty of guys like in the Midwest and East Coast that I've worked with on the Ultra 4 stuff. So,
okay. So how is it sitting in one of those for 3 or 4 hours? I couldn't imagine.
If you've got, you know, nice seats and, you know, a suspension package that works, it's really not that bad. I mean, you know, you race 4400 class in like the regional races is 2 hours. however many laps you do, however long the course is, you're on it for 2 hours plus one additional lap in 4,400. The Nationals race, it'll be longer, and then obviously King of the Hammers is King of the Hammers.
Right. You going out there every year?
To Hammers?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been going, I guess, past 3 or 4 years every year. I usually, at first it was working with Phil and helping him out with the customers he was bringing, and now I can bring some customers to the table also. So it's I get some customers that are, want to schedule stuff out there, and so that way, Phil and I can still work together. We're both drawing customers.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you see Phil and y'all work together. Or...
Oh yeah, like I generally I've been riding out with folks from the East Coast because it hasn't, hauling all the way out to King of the Hammers is, I think it's like 27, 28 hours from here, from Kentucky. Man, just the fuel expense and everything else. I've been fortunate to kind of folks ride out, and then I usually work with Phil. Phil brings his trailer because he's only about 8 hours from Hammers.
Okay.
So I'll take, specific tools. That way we're not trying to share tools. And then he brings his trailer. We just both work out of his trailer on, we schedule like probably a week and a half worth of work, if not a little more. And then we usually try and get racers first. And then if rec guy, just trail rigs, whatever, want to get some tuning, we'll tune those guys too out there.
So do y'all have emergencies while you're out there?
Do what?
Like, do y'all have emergencies while you're out there? Like somebody busts a shock and say, hey, I need this done ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, if they break stuff, fortunately, a lot of the shock manufacturers are there. A lot of the shock manufacturers bring parts or are based out of California where they can get parts, the next day type thing. And, a lot of the manufacturers that show up and set up, they bring in parts. They know the program. Like, you don't show up to King of the Hammers as a vendor and just not have anything to help racers and everything else. So, I mean, there's usually enough support there. And then we usually bring inventory of just whatever, shock shafts and seals and oil and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So unless it's just some kind of crazy failure, we might have the parts also.
Heck yeah. So, and how long you been into the rock bouncing scene? You said about 3-4 years.
Shocks, just on the shock stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much when I got with Phil and kind of made it a full-time thing, past 3 or 4 years, I started, working on some rock bouncers, and it's just kind of built from there. I mean, you got to prove that you can, do something before everybody just wants you to work on their stuff. So I'm fortunate, different, Justin Holt at Reject Fab. I think he was one of the first bouncer builders that, was like, hey man, let's work on some rigs. I want to see what we can do.
Yeah. So you've been keeping up shock wise for 3 or 4 years, but how long have you been actually watching rock bouncing? Like,
since the beginning.
Since the beginning?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's been watching YouTube and, Mad Ram 11 since, Fat Girl Wheelie at Woolies.
Exactly.
That's the video that everybody talks about, right? Like,
yep. Everybody does talk about that video. And I had Timmy on, and we didn't even get to talk about that video. I was wanting to, but yeah, I'm gonna get him back on now. Timmy, he does his own shocks, don't he?
I worked on Tyrant last year.
Okay.
And we might do some stuff in the future.
Okay. Well, I ain't throwing nothing out. I just know how can I put it? He said that he had it out back doing some shock tuning or something like that. One of his videos. So I automatically thought he was doing the shock tuning, but you could be working on it as well. So, okay. Razors. Do you do anything with the razors? Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of razors. It tends to be more just trail razors. I've done some, I think Ethan Dean bought. It's a side by side that Paul Wolf built that Chris, I think Wade and then Chris had, and he came up to AOP the other day, had me, service some shocks off
Okay.
that razor. But yeah, I mean, a lot of like Clint Garrison's about 35 minutes from me.
Oh, okay.
So I've fixed some razor shocks for him in the past, and then obviously now that he's got the big bouncer, I've worked on that one. Liberty 2 when Danny Smith had it. So now Clint got it, and we worked on that. But as far as side by sides, yeah, I work on side by sides too. Mainly just shocks. I don't get into any of the side by side stuff at all, other than shocks for the most part.
Right. So go ahead. Sorry.
I did a build not too long ago, or I just did some work on a side by side, and I think after that, there's plenty of other folks that can do that work.
So, when was your moment that you met somebody that you seen on the internet, either Ultra 4, like Randy Slauson, or the Campbell, or rock bouncing? When was it that first time you met somebody you said, "Holy crap, I'm sitting here talking to somebody," or this guy's 10 feet from me? I mean,
well, so probably one of the cooler experiences I got was probably maybe like 2020 or something like that. It was right after COVID, and Ultra 4 was able to have their first race, and it was at AOP. And so everybody came to that race because they hadn't been able to race. You've got sponsor obligations and all that kind of stuff. So like Lauren Healy and Von Gittin Jr. and the Campbells come out, and like just everybody. It was the first Ultra 4 race of the year after the COVID mess. And I was just kind of hanging out and worked on some shocks a little bit. I wasn't racing with Cody just yet. That was like the year before. And so Shannon Campbell's there, and I'm in the pits with somebody just helping out. And Shannon Campbell comes over there, and he's asking questions to somebody that had just ran the 4,800 race, which is right before 4,400. He's like, I'm interested. He's like, I'd like to see this spot because I'm sure it's changed. And he's like, I just kind of interested. I said, dude, if you just go trail 1, go over here, hang a right, and you're right there. He's like, well, how about you just take me? I'm like, I mean, okay. So he grabs his side by side. I hop in with him, and we just go cruise over to the spot he wanted to check out, and just shot the breeze. And super cool guy. But Shannon Campbell's one of them. Legend. I mean, I know he's not rock bouncer or whatever, but I mean, most people, if you're into rock sports at all, like know who Shannon Campbell is.
Yeah, any off-road or rock racing.
Just anything. I mean, he's just one of them guys. So that was a cool experience, man. Just normal, most of everybody you meet, man, I've got to meet a lot of folks. Bobby Tanner, Tim Cameron, I've got to meet a lot of folks. Everybody's just down to earth. I've not met anybody that was thought that they were just better than you or anything like that, man. Like,
and I like that about this sport.
Right. And that's Ultra 4, that's rock bouncing. I mean, if you're at a Ultra 4 race and you want to, as long as people aren't just like thrashing on their rig trying to get it fixed to go race in 10 minutes. Yeah. Like, you can walk into people's pits and talk to them, ask them questions. Like, nobody doesn't want to. It's like people want to talk to you. Just roll up and ask questions, or just, hey man, I've seen you race. Nice to meet you. Like, whatever. Right.
That's I'm normally shy around people, and so it took me a little bit to get in the rock bouncing scene, and then I finally started getting more followers, and I want to go to Ultra 4. I know Curtis, he does a lot with my mind just went blank. but he does a lot of photography
Okay.
over there at the Ultra 4 scene.
What's his last name? It starts with a P or something.
Paglish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at the Pennsylvania race. We hung out at a certain spot. We were me and some other guys were up there. I was doing some shock tuning and helping in the pits with some buddies. And before the 4400, I guess 4800 race earlier in the day, Ultra 4 kind of needed some extra hands, just safety stuff, and so we worked a little spot. And Curtis was over there, so hung out with him for just a little bit.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. I'm wanting to get into Ultra 4, but it's a lot of it's way out west, and they do have races east, but even Crandon is like way up there for me. Like I live in East Tennessee, so you're familiar with Middle Tennessee. Well, I live 15 minutes south of Knoxville, so I'm 40 minutes from Winrock, so I'm way away from. Well, now they do have Rush. I believe. I don't know what else they have out this way. They used to have, Off-Road Lifestyle, Curtis. That's right. But they used to have AOP, but AOP, they're not coming back to AOP. Or, well, not this year anyway.
Right.
So. But anyways, Heath Day says he has won a bouncer shootout. Who's he talking about?
Maybe
about you? You win a bouncer shootout?
I think he's talking about Shannon Campbell.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if he's talking about, I kind of commented on this one time on one of your podcasts. Ultra 4 and like SRS used to do a kind of a combined vent at Superlift in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And after the 4400 race, they would do kind of a bouncer-ish. It was like something that had some speed to it, but rock bouncer type stuff.
Okay.
And then the Ultra 4 guys and rock bouncers would all, whoever wanted to enter could enter. And it was just, whoever won. And I'm pretty sure Shannon won one of those races or whatever,
Yeah, that's what he just commented. He said Shannon Campbell.
Right.
Man, they got some buggies. Shannon, Waylon.
Yeah.
The daughter.
Bailey.
Man, they got some buggies.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Shannon's been doing it for a while. He's got a pretty good proven platform. It looks like he's fixing to have a new one for him finally. So,
So, I wonder who Brandon Davis is going to go with. He talked to you anything about his shocks? Because he's getting a Ultra 4 car built right now.
Hadn't heard anything about it.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. Heath Day says, "Yep, what Wizzo is saying. The first one was in Donnie's Hill. It's a legit climb."
Yeah, I've never been to Superlift, but you can look up on Mad Ram 11's channel and find those videos. They're pretty cool, man.
Was you out at finals last year? I guess it was finals for both series, SRS and Ultra 4. Is that Disney?
Oh yeah. We raced there. We came in fifth.
That's right. You're in the 4400 class.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. That was the first time I ever been to Disney, and
it's cool.
That was Yeah.
They're racing there this coming weekend. It's a regional race, not a finals race. But
okay, so they are there this weekend?
Yeah, they're going to Disney this weekend. So it won't be quite as big since it's a regional race this year, but still I hate we're missing this one, but it's an awesome course, man. It's awesome.
It was rowdy. So when is your next event that you're going to go back to? Like either racing or shock tuning? You have any plans?
I don't. So I'm going to try and do the AOP finals. I think it's in October.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If there's enough interest, I may try and set up some tuning ahead of that. But I mean, most of the guys that are racing it, I've worked with. So, but if somebody want to do some dialing in or whatever, just holler at me. I'm going to try and do that one. I'm going to try and, like last year, I feel like I was able to shock tune into like December because just the winter was milder,
Yeah.
not quite as miserable. So shock tune a little bit longer. We'll see what happens with the winter this year. You know, if I can do something, you know, October, November, December, try and get maybe one tuning kind of deal going each month. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like after December, it's kind of probably weather will be, you know,
Yeah.
crummy by then. So
Well, I asked what event or next time you're gonna be doing shock tuning. Wade Good says, I hope it's this weekend. Uh-oh, sounds like y'all got plans for this weekend.
I don't know. We've been talking about some stuff, man. Between his schedule and mine, it's tough. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I've got I'm gonna make an announcement, of course, later in the week, but I do have Dan Bowman and crew coming on Monday.
oh,
So
nice.
while you're on vacation, if you're bored
Yeah.
down there in the sunny city of Florida, sunny state of Florida, you can hop on.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Bowman's going to be on here and
Cool.
his crew, and I messaged Wade to see if he wanted to come on, but we're not sure about him. But
Yeah.
we will. Like I said, I'm gonna make another announcement about them coming on.
Yeah, man. Dan's a super nice guy.
Oh, well, Wade just commented and said I'll be on as well. So that's freaking awesome. If since you just told me, yeah, then I will make the announcement tomorrow. Dan is a super nice guy. I got to hang out with him up in Ohio, Indiana, wherever he lives at. I forgot. I know we went to Indianapolis and then we shot over
Okay.
and then met him at a car show and got to hang out with him. Brian Bebo Watt says the 14th of October is AOP. So,
Coming up quick.
that's I hate that date. I hate that date because how many bouncers are going to want to beat on it on a Bounty Hill the week before finals?
I don't think it's a Bounty Hill, from what I heard, because they're aware that finals is not too far out. Now, I believe, don't, you know,
Right.
cuss me or something when they do a course different, but I'm pretty sure Sean talked about he's aware that finals is
next
there's
week.
other, you know, the finals is not too far after. So I think he was trying to make it like challenging, but not kill your stuff. Maybe that could have been the qualifiers. I don't know.
Right.
But
I got you. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. That's a lot of money to be giving out to somebody just be, you know.
oh, I'm sure it's AOP, so it's gonna be challenging. I mean, unless they're racing in the parking lot.
So, what do you like more, rock bouncing or Ultra 4?
Like doing myself?
Yeah, doing yourself.
I enjoy the Ultra 4 racing. I've never, and I can't be like, oh, I've never really rock bounced. So I just feel like I compare rock bouncing to like drag racing or sled pulling, because you get a shorter, like, you're in the car for less time, right? You're in the bouncer for whatever, a minute, 2 minutes at the most, or whatever, a couple shots at a time. You know, with the endurance racing, you know, you're just in the rig for quite a bit longer. You know, you pre-run for a day, you qualify, then, you know, you 4,400, you race for 2 hours plus another lap. You know, obviously King of the Hammers is way longer. The seat time side of things is, I guess, and the challenge of, you know, having something and having to keep it together.
Right.
You know, like at Disney, I mean, flat tires everywhere, you know.
It was bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can, you know, like I said, we cut 3 tires, changed them all got changed in the pits, and we still were able to finish 5th at Nationals last year.
Wow.
So, I mean, that, you know, the winner didn't have a single flat. So
that's,
you know,
crazy.
I don't, just the seat time. Now I like watching the bouncer races. I like going to them. It's a great time.
Yeah.
I just don't see myself probably building one.
So do you ever drive, or are you just always co-pilot?
So when I had, my original buggy, I drove. It was an e-course. It was like a feeder series to Ultra 4. At that time in Ultra 4, you had to either qualify through one of their races, or you could do like the they had what they even call it, LLC, or the LCQ, last chance qualifier out at Hammers, or like different series. Like when We Rock had Dirt Riot, if you won Dirt Riot, or like if you won E-Course in the big class, you got like a spot in the Hammers.
Okay.
So I drove then. I mean,
you like driving more?
I like both, man. I enjoy co-driving with Cody. I'll be honest, it's fun. It's its own different challenge, man. I'm trying to see what's coming up. I'm trying to especially at Hammers, you're using the map more, but just trying to keep him focused and trying to just make sure we're making the correct turns, and everything else it's its own challenge, I guess.
Yeah. Man, y'all got obviously a lot of gadgets in there. That passenger seat is like filled with, it looks like computer stuff everywhere. I'm like, what is all this stuff?
Well, you got a big GPS screen, whether you're running, lead nav or Lowrance or whatever you're running. But a lot of the series races, like, we race at AOP, we'll use the GPS to kind of get the lay of the land during qualifying and stuff. But once you run it, and East Coast is just harder to get like a 40-mile lap or something where you just are only going to see it once or twice type thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these times, by the time you've raced the same 10-mile lap, 7 or 8 times, like, you get a pretty good feel for what's coming up next. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But driving's fun. It's the other side of it is the time. Like, man, having my shop, being busy in the shop, building, some rigs and working on shocks and all that kind of stuff. The time to, prep a rig and be responsible for it completely.
Yeah.
It's just, it would be tough right now.
It looks like you got 2 rigs in the background. Are those race rigs, or are they going to be trail rigs? Or
no, these are just some trail rigs. I've got a M&M chassis that it'll be a full turnkey when it's done. I've got a bomber chassis in here that's a trail rig. They're both trail rigs. I've got a couple PCR chassis here right now, but they'll just be trail rigs. I mean, most everything I build is trail rigs. If somebody wanted to build a Ultra 4 rig, I'd probably be interested in that. But
and all those customer rigs?
Huh?
Customer rigs?
Yeah, right now everything here is customer rigs.
Now, what's it say on the wall back here? Wizzo Hill. What is that?
So there's a local park in Bowling Green called Wishbone Ranch, and it's just a trail that I cut or whatever. I was the first one up it, and so got to name it, and I acquired the sign that was there at one point. So
heck yeah. So you going to Hammers this coming up year, I guess?
That's the plan.
I can't believe there's no shootout.
Huh?
I can't believe there's no shootout.
I can and I can't, man. Like, the last few years, it don't feel like it's been the same with it not at backdoor, and I don't know. I just thought, I feel like interest is down on it.
It is. As far as the racers, but man, the people that come out, it seems like they come out just for that. They are everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like anymore you can race a Pinto up through there, and there's going to be people everywhere just to come see it.
Oh yeah, I mean, the spectators are going to come check it out because it's going to be a show.
Yeah,
but until they figure out a way to draw some racers, I mean, like, it's easier for guys on the West Coast to show up, for a lot of the bouncer, a lot of the guys that are running SRS and Outlaw and stuff, like, most of them are, East Coast, Midwest, maybe.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
So they're, it's hard to get excited about driving 12, 24, 30 something
36
hours to,
yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, if I was a driver, I mean, give me a reason to come out.
Yeah, exactly. Money. That's the only thing that would change people's mind is pay people to come out and race.
Right.
But you'd have to pay a pretty penny because that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for people. So since you've been keeping up with rock bouncing and Ultra 4, I don't know a lot about Ultra 4, but every single person I have on here that I interview, I'm sure you heard if you listen to anything like this. What is your rock bouncer and Ultra 4 Mount Rushmores? Four for Ultra 4, 4 for rock bouncers.
Dang. I guess I don't know, on Ultra 4, I'll start there. Probably Shannon Campbell's got to be on there. As far as, like Eric Miller, coming from the East Coast and winning a couple different times, man, like you got to have him on there. Mm-hmm. Guy like Jason Shears won it, Ultimate King of the Hammers a few times. He's obviously he done We Rock and all that, so I'd imagine he would probably need to be on there.
One more.
I don't know, Randy Slauson. I mean, that guy's when the Ultra 4 and SRS stuff combined at Superlift there for a couple years, it was cool to see, guys like Randy and Shannon come out and race after. They would race after the Ultra 4 race and the bouncers deal, and that was pretty cool to see.
That'd be pretty cool to see happen again.
Right.
So that, just have a race. Just somebody needs to come up with something and try to do that again.
Yeah. On the rock bouncing side, it'd probably be, Bobby Tanner, Timmy Cameron. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of some older guys that, man, like, you got a guy like Wade who came on the big buggy side of things last season and just done really well for the push. The race between him and Tim Cameron all year long was cool to watch.
Yeah, it was
so phenomenal. There ain't been a lot of guys that could come, kind of put that pressure on.
There's only been like one other one, and that was Bubba.
Yeah, but that, I mean, those guys need to come back and race some more. Those guys been.
I think Little Tim will be. I don't, and Big Tim, of course. I don't know about Bubba. I hadn't heard nothing.
Yeah.
All right. So you headed on vacation and then you'll be back, huh?
Do what?
You headed on vacation and then you'll be back. Y'all racing anymore this year? I mean, how many more Ultra 4 races are there? I don't know.
There's Disney this weekend, and then there's Nationals is in Lake Havasu at a place that I don't think Ultra 4 has ever raced at before. I believe there's been some other series, like Desert Series race there, but my understanding, and I'm pretty sure that Ultra 4 has never raced there.
Oh, okay.
So
cool. So you won't be at Bikini Bottoms. You won't be at Disney this weekend.
Nope.
You got any plans on going to any of the finals that are coming up?
Probably not, man. Like, Hammers is coming up. It'll be late January, first part of February. I mean, for whatever reason, it's like weeks just come and go so freaking fast right now.
Yeah.
Between shop work and, just family stuff, it is crazy hard to get away on the weekends. Like, when I talk to people about shock tuning, I'm like, dude, if you want to shock tune during the week, let's do it.
Right.
Because, weekends are hard to come by, man. I'm, trying try and fit everything in when I can. It's just tough, right now with both my boys playing travel baseball and whatnot, and just I ain't gonna I miss a little of it here and there, but I ain't I ain't gonna
first.
be I ain't gonna be the one that ain't gonna be. I ain't gonna be the dad that ain't around. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
yeah. Family first. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All
Maybe
right,
maybe one of these days one of my kids will get into this a little more, and we'll try and hit some stuff. That'll be
or maybe both of them. That's a lot of money, Dad. That's a lot of money.
Travel ball ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
So
I know about travel ball. It ain't cheap at all.
Yeah.
Well, we've been going over an hour, so let's see. Oh, Justin Holt decides to come on. He's an hour late, but he's waving his little hand.
Better late than never.
Yeah. I'm gonna have those two guys on the show as well. I've got to get with him and see when
they gonna get the casting couch back out. Did you see that one?
I did. I did see that.
Come on, boys. Get the casting couch out.
Yep. Yeah, I did see that. That's pretty funny. But I guess I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
So you got stuff to do, family stuff to take care of. But man, I appreciate you coming on, buddy. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man. Anytime,
You say you don't know your next event, so you don't know about the Bounty Hill, or you are going to Bounty?
The AOP event, I'm gonna try.
Cool deal.
It's coming up quick. Like I think it's the weekend after we get back, so I need to look at things and see if I can dial that one in 100%. So I can't 100% say yes or no right now.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully I'll get to see you at an event this year.
Yeah. We'll see. It might be next year, but we'll catch up.
All right, man. I do appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. That was Chris Weygandt. I think I got that right. Man, I appreciate him coming on. We had a good little time talking, chit-chatting, hanging out. But if you do have any shock, want to get with him for shock tuning, oh man, you know what? I forgot to get with him. I'll message him. I like to get a shirt or two shirts from him. I see a lot of people wearing them, and I like to get me one and my son one. But I'll message him and see if he's got any, because those gray shirts with Diddy's Big Block Race Shop on it, they do look pretty nice. I like them. But if you have any shock questions or anything about shocks, if he ain't too busy, hit him up. Go over to Diddy's Big Block Race Shop and go like that page. It helps all of us when you like and share all the media stuff. It helps people grow. So but yeah, anyways, you need any shock tuning done, definitely get a hold of Wizzo, and he'll get you taken care of. But so next Monday, 8:00. Next Monday, 8:00. I'm gonna make an announcement on my page. We will have Dan Bowman. We will have Clayton Smith. We will have Wade Good. Yes, we're going to have all three of them on. And if I'm not mistaken, all three of them will be in a buggy, a different buggy, at Bikini Bottoms. I'm not going to say which buggies are which. I'm pretty sure you all know. But I tell you what, come back next Monday at 8:00 Eastern time, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have those buggies in the background. So you do not want to miss next Monday, 8:00, right here on the Hardline Show. I will see you all then. See ya.